Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this August 12th, 2025 meeting of the Lewis and Clark County Commissioners. Welcome to you all. And we always start this off with a Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Every morning we start this, well, not every morning, every Tuesday and Thursday morning, we start this off and I introduce everybody, well, on this side. Let's see. So I am Candace Payne. I'm the chair of this meeting. To my immediate left is Tom Rolfe. Good morning, Commissioner Rolfe.
Good morning, Chair Payne.
And to his left is our recording secretary, Brandi Spangler. Morning. To my right is Andy Hunthausen. He was out last week. I almost forgot his name. Commissioner Andy Hunthausen. And to his right is Roger Balls, our Chief Administrative Officer. We may have members of the County Attorney's Office come wandering in, but it depends on when they get out of their court. With that, let's see. We have agendas that are on that little table and a sign-in sheet, and we'd like to have your name and, you know, if we want to call you up and see if we really understood what it was you said. Anyway, please sign in and get an agenda. Then, let's see, on into the meat of the meeting. We have a consent action item 2A be presented by Mr. Roger Balls.
Thank you, Chair Payne and Commissioners. As you just indicated, this is item 2A on the agenda. It's the public meeting minutes from July 10, 15, 17, 22nd, and 24th, August 5 and 7, 2025. Staff recommends approval of that item. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Roger. Is there any questions from the Commission? And just, Roger, so you know that you're not sneaking anything by us. We have all looked at these minutes, so we already know what it says. So I need let's see. No, I have to have a public comment. Is there any public comment on these minutes? Seeing none, I need a motion.
Chair Payne, I would move to approve the consent action items 2A, public meeting minutes, as explained by Roger Balls.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve the consent action item 2A as presented by Roger Balls. Any further questions or comments from the Commission? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Item 3A, the action items, is the bid opening for the courthouse roof and gutter replacement project, and Ms. Audra Zacherl will present that.
Good morning, Chair Payne, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Audra Zacherl, Assistant Director of Public Works. As you mentioned, this morning we have a bid opening for the roof and gutter replacement project on the county courthouse. I have 4 bids to open this morning. Okay, this first bid that I have opened is from Wagner Roofing and Solar. They're out of Billings, Montana. Okay, the bid appears to be fully complete. The bid security has been included. The base bid for replacement of roof sections A, B, and C is a total of $441,900. Okay, the second bid that I will open is from Empire Roofing Incorporated, also of Billings, Montana. The bid appears to be fully complete. The bid security has been included. The total bid amount for the replacement of roof sections A, B, and C total $750,000. All right, this third bid was submitted by Ace Roofing LLC of Bozeman, Montana. The bid appears to be fully complete. The bid security has been included. The total base bid amount for the replacement of roof sections A, B, and C total $702,179. This last bid is from Summit Roofing Incorporated of Missoula, Montana. The bid appears to be fully complete. The bid security has been included. The total base bid amount for the replacement of roof sections A, B, and C total $368,815. Staff would like to take these bids under advisement and return on Tuesday, August 26th, with a recommendation for award. Are there any questions?
I have a question. Audra, is there, our courthouse is an old building, and is any of this roofing include the cost of it being a historic? I mean, is it going to remain historic, or is it going to have flashing lights and metal up there?
Thank you for that question, Chair Payne. Yes, because it's a historic building, we do work with Pam Attardo to make sure that the work that we're doing will maintain the historical integrity of the building.
Thank you, Audra. Any questions? Tom? Andy? No questions. Nope. Is there any public comment out there? Seeing no public comment, I think we need a motion.
Chair Payne, I'd ask, or I'd move that we ask staff to take the bids under advisement and bring a recommendation back to this commission at our regular scheduled meeting on 8/26.
Second.
Second, sorry about that.
It's been moved and seconded that we send this bid opening back for our staff to consider and bring back to us for a final decision on Tuesday, August 26th.
Just a comment, if I might.
Go ahead.
This is a perfect example why it's a good a good thing to get a number of bids that are sealed and that are put established independently by contractors. There's a huge disparity in the prices here,
Yeah, there is.
and it gives us an opportunity for staff to look over and make sure that all the bids comply with what's necessary. But there may be an opportunity to save quite a bit of money here from the top bid to the bottom bid. So,
Ooh, but as my wise old father used to say, you know, the oats are always cheaper if they've been through the horse once.
that's right.
So you need to get what you really want. Andy, do you have anything?
Only Chair Payne, since we have a room full of folks today, just an explanation. We always open all of our bids in public. So we had no idea what was coming in and what they look like. And then, as Audra said, it appeared that the bids were complete, but it was a glance. So we ask the staff and a committee to look at these bids thoroughly, make sure they comply with law and all of our bid specs, if you will, and then bring back a recommendation for the most responsible bid, and we'll make a decision at that time. So that's just for explanation purposes. Thank you, Chair Payne.
Thank you, Andy. I think that's important information. Let's see, it has been moved and seconded. Yeah, we did that. Moved and seconded. And we've had further comment from the commission, and now we will vote on this. All in favor of approving this motion indicate by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Passes by passes unanimously. I'm having a little trouble making the connections in my brain this morning with the words. Let's see. Next on the agenda is an intent to transfer property between certain governmental entities and will be presented by our friend Dustin Noel. Good morning, Dustin.
Good morning, Chair Payne and Commissioners. For the record, my name is Dustin Noel, N-O-E-L. I'm shop manager for Lewis and Clark County Public Works. This morning and before me is Resolution 2025-72, intent to transfer property between certain governmental entities. Montana Code annotated 7-8-101 authorizes the sale or trade of property to any city, town, or political subdivision as the interests of its inhabitants require. That is not necessary for the conduct of the county business. This resolution notifies the public of the county's intent to surplus and transfer to Jefferson County the following equipment for a total value of $31,200. The first on this list is a snowplow truck, complete. It is a 1996 International Model S-2554 four-wheel drive with 125,317 miles. The next on the list is a total of three manufacturers, Henke, and they are V-plow attachments for to use on the front of motor graders. Next is 4 sander boxes. The manufacturer is Henderson, and they are 5-yard sander boxes that we had on the back of some of our trucks and have since replaced with new. The next is 2 Williamson dump boxes. Those are the boxes you see on the back of dump trucks. They basically, it's just a dump box with a cylinder on it,
Okay.
so they can be reused. And the last thing is 2 walk and roll packers. No explanation on those. That's what we use to compact our roads. They're attached to the back of a motor grader, and we have since replaced those. The 2 we have up for surplus with new of the same model. So the public hearing will be advertised in the Helen Independent Record the next 2 Saturdays, and written public comment will be accepted until 4 p.m. on Wednesday, August 27th, 2025, at the Lewis and Clark County Clerk and Recorder's Office. The public hearing has been scheduled for Thursday, August 28th, 2025, at 9 a.m. in room 330 of the City County Building, 316th North Park Avenue, Helena, Montana, right here. Anyone who may want more information on the sale of the equipment to Jefferson County should contact the Public Works Department at 406-447-8037. Staff recommends the Board of County Commissioners approve Resolution of Intent 2025-72 to transfer property between certain governmental entities and open the comment period. Any questions for me?
Thank you, Dustin. Any questions?
Just a comment, we might, apparently the counties near us, it seems like they are interested in our used vehicles and used equipment. Must have something to do with the good job that you and your staff do of maintaining the equipment.
Thanks for that, Commissioner Rolfe. I would like to believe so, that, we keep our equipment even after 10, 15, even 20 years old. We try to keep it in the best shape possible, right, until the end, till we reach that replacement cycle.
Okay, great.
Andy?
Chair Payne, just a comment to our program and system. Thank you very much, first of all. And I support this, but we have, you talked about the replacement cycle there a second ago. And I'm very proud of our CIP program. And I think when we have a chance to tell people, we have a room full of people to tell them about it, it's really good. So most of our major equipment we are saving for now. We know that it has a lifespan, and instead of getting to the end of that life and saying, oh, geez, we got to buy a $1 million piece of equipment now, taxpayers, can you help us out? We, like we do in our homes, set aside money each year knowing that that purchase is coming. And so we put equipment essentially on a cycle. And when it gets to the end of its life, usually we have save money in that savings account to purchase that piece of equipment and then surplus the old one either to another governmental entity or out to the world. So I'm just proud of the way we do it. We stay in the black, and we work hard to save and skimp so that we're ready to purchase that next piece of equipment when it's time. I don't know if you want to comment on that or not, but I just wanted to say how I'm proud of our system and the way we do it.
Thanks, Commissioner Hunhausen. That is true. It's always a work in progress to keep our equipment in the best shape we can. And that CIP greatly helps us do that, for sure. Thank you.
And just, Chair Payne, just CIP stands for Capital Improvement Plan, so if I didn't say that. So we always use acronyms, but for those that didn't know.
Actually, they always used to use acronyms, and then I came in and said, I don't know what the heck a acronym stands for, and I need an explanation before we start. And everybody has paid attention, and I think it's helpful in communication when we know what those letters stand for. So thank you, Dustin. Let's see. Is there any public comment on this matter? Seeing none, we need to have a motion here, guys.
Chair Payne, I would move to approve Resolution 2025-72, intent to transfer property between certain government entities as explained by Dustin Noel.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution explained to us by Mr. Noel. Is there any further comment from the commission?
I'd just like to, if I might, echo what Commissioner Hunhausen said about the capital improvement program. It's very difficult to get local governments to do that. Ours is one of the few local governments anywhere that I know of that it has disciplined itself with capital improvement programs where we put money aside each year for things that we know that are coming up. It's provided us with some great opportunities, because once in a while you get an opportunity to pick a unit up, maybe a demonstrator unit from a dealer, maybe a good late model used that just for some reason is out there, and we're able to save money. But when we make capital purchases, we don't borrow money or pay any interest on it. And the money is there set aside, just like we do in our homes, where where most of us set a little money aside for a vacation or set a little money aside for the next car or whatever it happens to be. And I really, really believe that your county government here in Lewis and Clark is one of the most fiscally responsible units of local government anywhere in the state of Montana. And this is a great example of what is done.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Andy. No further comment. Let's have a vote. All those in favor of Resolution 2025-72 as presented by Mr. Noel indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Next up is Resolution 2025-71, levying assessments upon benefited property within road improvement districts and rural improvement districts in Lewis and Clark County, Montana, presented by Jessica Makus. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair Payne, Commissioners Hunthausen, and Commissioner Ralph. Today you'll be holding public hearing to hear comments and objections regarding the adoption of Resolution 2025-71 to levy and assess an annual special assessment upon benefited properties within rural improvement districts and road improvement districts in Lewis and Clark County. Each year, the special districts program staff analyze each rural improvement district budget. We review the current assessment and how that assessment revenue compares to projected expenditures for the year. We look at annual maintenance items needed and also project the cost for lower frequency, higher cost items such as the chip seal cycle for our hard surface districts, which occur every 7 to 9 years as needed. We use that analysis to identify RIDs that need an assessment increase to continue to receive maintenance as intended in the resolutions that created those districts. We also use that analysis to determine how much an increase should be. We meet with residents of those districts during evening public meetings to go over budgets and the reasons we will recommend assessment increases if needed. These districts are presented in individual public hearings with individual resolutions to increase those special assessments. Occasionally through this process, we also identify RIDs that are projected to grow a cash balance once we account for anticipated revenue against projected expenditures. For these districts, we recommend assessment decreases. To be clear, all financial information for all of our RIDs is public information, and we make that available upon request at any time to residents and property owners. For all other RIDs, with no change necessary, we address these through one resolution in the same public hearing, and that's what we're here to do today. The RIDs before you have no recommended changes and will be assessed at the same rates they've been assessed since last year. However, by statute, we are required to hold this public hearing and send legal notice to all benefiting property owners and allow time for public comment or objection. Legal notice of the assessments and this public hearing date was sent to all property owners within each of the RIDs included in the resolution before you. In addition to the notice of public hearing, district background information, maintenance details, and current financial information were summarized in the mailing. Staff contact information was included as well, and staff fielded calls from property owners inquiring information related to these districts. It's our hope that these notices will continue to generate communication between the county and the residents in these districts and to establish points of contact for our residents in the future. In addition to the mailed notice, legal notice was also published in the Helena Independent Record on July 19th and July 26th, 2025. One letter of protest was received for the Pine Hills RID. With a total of 35 benefiting properties, this protest represents 2.8% of the property owners in the Pine Hills district. One letter of protest was received for the Vandenberg Village RID. This district has 81 properties, and this protest represents 1.2% of the district. These letters have been included in your packet for your review, and I'm happy to address this, this comment during the public comment testimony portion of this, this public hearing today. Additionally, one letter of resident comment was received for the Big Valley RID requesting additional grading beyond the annual grading that's included in the district, and I can address that as well. And one letter of support was received for the Treasure State Acres RID. There are 112 RIDs included in this resolution to levy and assess. Staff recommend approval of this resolution to levy and assess benefited property within each of these rural improvement districts. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. I'm not a mathematician, but when I see something that says must be, we've got a certain amount of people who are unhappy, 2.8%. So we've got 97.2% that are happy,
Chair
or
Payne.
at least didn't comment.
Chair Payne, so what you're referring to is just the Pine Hills district. This is one of 112 districts represented today. So of that district, there are only 35 property owners in that specific district. We received protests from one of those property owners. And again, that letter has been included in your packet, and I'd be happy to address those items specifically, either now or during the public comment.
If you don't mind, I would like to go through it now, if that's all right. I read through this packet with concern. I always read these, the letters of objection. I've worked with you enough to know that you take your job very seriously and you do the best you can. The letter of complaint that I am referring to is dated July 29th, 2024. And it is regarding the contract management process for Pine Hills Rural Improvement District 1990-12. And I visited yesterday with CAO Balls to make sure I had a clear understanding of what this was about and if this was a concern that we should follow up on. And he said he would talk to you about it, and now you're going to explain how this whole thing works. Or at least, we got to get done by noon, so.
Thank you, Chair Payne. Sure. So there was a lot in the letter, the specific letter. Initially, the background of the district was shared, and I will reiterate that. This district, the Pine Hills district, was created in 1990. This district is 35 years old. This road has deteriorated over time. The claim was that this road has deteriorated over time due to the materials being pushed into the ditches instead of being pulled from the ditch to crown the road properly. Further, it states that this has filled in the ditches and widened the roadway, which results in improper drainage and continued deterioration. So this road has widened over time, which is something that does happen with roadways when that ditch is not maintained. However, I think that that's a statement that needs to be further looked into here, because generally with a gravel road district, which is what we have here, you lose about a half an inch of gravel per year. You lose it to the ditch, you lose it to other things. It breaks down, it embeds into the roadway, it comes out, different materials are present. Anyway, that being said, you have to re-gravel roads periodically. Some gravel has been applied to this road over time. Primarily what's wrong with this district is you have a lot of areas that no longer have adequate surfacing material. It's down to native rock in many locations in this district. And frankly, a district like this would be something that we would consider for a new improvement. So dissolving the existing district and looking at a new improvement to re-gravel, to reestablish some drainage, things like that. Things, you cannot expect a road to look the same as it did 35 years ago with just grading over time. It's just not possible without more significant maintenance. We met with property owners in this district last year to increase their assessment. That assessment was set at $125 in 2016. With the cost of grading, with snow plowing, with all of the costs of all of the maintenance items that we handle with these districts, that assessment needed to come up substantially. We increased that assessment to, I believe, $275 per property per year. This protest goes on to state that the increase to that assessment was to do additional work, and it was not. That assessment is to continue with the maintenance that was detailed in that resolution that created the district. With that, we recommended having a contractor out there that is better at pulling ditch. We work with a lot of contractors, I think all good contractors, but some do a better job than others of pulling in that ditch material. So we recommended working with one of those contractors. I want to be clear, this letter states that we were paying more for that contractor to do that work. That is not the case. The contractor that we recommended to do that work this year was actually the lowest quoted cost in the request for qualifications that we put out to build that roster of grading contractors. So I want to be clear that the work that was done this year as far as the grading cost no more than any other grading would have cost. And in fact, it was the most affordable. So I want to be clear in addressing that part of the comment that increase was not related to doing more work on the road. That increase was an inflationary increase to make sure that we can do maintenance as we're intended with this district.
Jessica, just the last time there was an assessment presented to these homeowners, was that when this RID was organized in 35 years ago?
Chair Payne, no. The assessment was increased in 2016 and then increased again last year.
Okay, but between 2016 and 2024, there were no increases.
Chair Payne, that's correct.
Thank you. Continue. You're doing good.
So let's see where we were here. During the meeting where we proposed the increase and looked at the budget, we also, presented other options, which would be a new improvement to have new gravel put on the road to go through the process of a new rural improvement district to have, the road remediated all at once. Residents can also dissolve these districts. There's a clear process in statute to dissolve rural improvement districts so long as they have no debt. That option is also presented, and subdivisions or neighborhoods can take maintenance back into their own HOAs or other road committees that they may have privately set up in these neighborhoods. So that option was presented as well. To continue with the rural improvement district option, we recommended that increase to stay on track with the resolution that created this district. This goes on to detail the work that was done and the cost associated with the work that was done. Primarily laying some new gravel. We did have gravel added to 3 different areas throughout this district. Again, those areas that were in the worst condition with that exposed rock. There's some comment about the cost of the gravel that was put on the road compared to quoted cost per ton with Valley X or other suppliers in Helena. I want to be clear that yes, we pay more under this contract for our gravel, but that includes delivery. It includes spreading it in the areas that we want it. It also includes that grading contractor working that gravel in with a grader along with the other material that's there, pulling anything from the ditches to add that in, watering it, compacting it, and putting it in. So that price that we pay per ton of gravel through the contractor that put the gravel down includes that additional service of working it into the roadway. This is not like just having gravel dumped in your driveway. So it's a little bit, it does include getting it applied to the road correctly. This particular property owner did request the invoices and the contract associated with this work, which was provided to this contractor, or to this property owner. I visited on site with this contractor along with Alex Lemieux, who is one of our road and bridge employees that has taken the temporary position to help us as an RID construction coordinator for the summer to help us get some of our work done since we've been short-staffed. Alex and I met on site. We looked at this work. Other than a berm of undesirable material that was left on the side, which we're working to have removed. Other than that, I am very satisfied with the work that was done on this road. I think the contractor did a very good job. He did pull ditch material as much as possible. I was also clear when we met with these folks in 2024 that pulling that ditch material is a process that has to occur over several years, over at least 3. Doing that pulls a lot of vegetation out. It also pulls material that you want. It pulls material you don't want. And so when a grader pulls that material, they also have to feather that out along the edges, taking out any large rock or any really small, fine material that you just don't want on your roadway. That's the spoils that are left on the side. And that's appropriate because we do not want that material on the roadway when we're done. So I think that we are not able to please everybody with these services. I think this district will continue to improve as we're able to address some of this work over time. And I'm happy to speak further to this one as needed. Thank you.
And Jessica, I think you've done a good job of explaining all the work that has been done. And I appreciate your efforts. As Commissioner Hunthausen was pointing out, Lewis and Clark County has this great CIP program, and I don't know what other counties have this, but in visiting with county commissioners around the state, it's my understanding that they don't do this much planning ahead. They don't have money in their savings account to fix this road. So I think that you folks are doing an excellent job. I do appreciate the letters that come in, letting us know that people are paying attention. We had another letter from the Vandenberg Village RID. Would you like to comment on any of that?
Sure. Yeah, we did also receive a letter of protest from the Vandenberg Village Rural Improvement District regarding communication with me specifically to have a couple areas patched, a couple potholes patched. This is on our list. As you all are aware, our program has 1.5 RID construction coordinator positions. Jesse Whitford was the half that split his time between the RID program and also the road department. He retired in early December. And then 1 week later, Caleb Markus, who was our RID construction coordinator in a full-time capacity, he and his family moved to Great Falls. So we lost them both within a week, which has been a challenge. And we have been working hard to hire these positions. I think it's been challenging for us to compete with the private market. We did get somebody that made it about 2 weeks and then was offered a lot more money from a previous employer and they left. So we've been really fortunate to get a temporary position filled with somebody from the Road and Bridge Department who's been able to help us get caught up. But unfortunately, when you run a lean program and you lose 2 key people, we're behind in our maintenance. So her complaint here is completely valid. This is on our radar. This is on a patching list. We're working to get through that patching list. It will be patched this year. Unfortunately, I recognize the frustration and the time it's taken us, but it will be addressed.
Okay, thank you, Jessica. And then we had another letter regarding the Hillman Road. Oh, and maybe that's in that same district.
Chair Payne, that's the one that we just looked over.
Okay. All right, thank you. Then the other one is, we have a letter of support. that I think should be brought up, since we're busy kicking you in the shins about what a rotten job you're doing. It's nice to every once in a while get some praise. And this is from the folks at Treasure State Acres at 1352 Beaverhead Road. And can you tell us a little about that project?
Yeah, this one is just writing in support of the Treasure State Acres RID, recognizing that nobody wants to pay additional assessments on the tax bill, but that, we do have to keep up our infrastructure. So I think that's a good summary of that. And I do appreciate that. It's nice to get those letters too sometimes.
Okay, and then we have a comment on the West Prairie Road from a constituent. Would you like to talk about that one?
Chair Payne, absolutely. So this is in our Big Valley Rural Improvement District out in the kind of the North Valley of the county. Talking about the road grading that was done this year. That was done, I believe, in June. That whole district was graded. It was done well. This district does get a lot of traffic in between some of those roads that are mentioned here. And the request is to have it graded more than once per year or to be paved. So as we know with our rural improvement districts, again, we go back to the resolution that created this district. The resolution is for grading once a year. If we had the funds to do additional grading, potentially we could. We do not. The way it's set up and assessed based on that resolution is for grading once a year. And that's what we do. We can discuss a potential increase. We can discuss a potential new rural improvement district where maintenance would be more robust or a little bit different than what was set up. I believe this district was created in 1993. As again, with pavement, as we also know, we cannot use those funds for pavement. So when we have a rural improvement district, those funds are levied and assessed per the resolution that created that district, and those funds can be used on what is specifically stated in that resolution. So we could never use gravel road funding to pave a road without going through the public process of creating a new rural improvement district. It would come with a huge cost. And all of those property owners would have to be informed of what that cost would be and have the opportunity to comment, protest, and just have their voice heard of whether or not they wanted to be part of a district like that. So I recognize the challenge with keeping up with that bit of road maintenance. I understand it. I think this is one that we will probably try to meet with in the coming year. It's again, one of our older districts that probably needs a conversation. But as it stands with the resolution we have, with the funding that we have, we cannot do any more maintenance on that road at this time as it stands.
You also probably can't use this money to take a trip to Hawaii to inspect their roads. So this process is to protect our taxpayers. So the money is used for a precise action and not for whatever else we decide it's time to do. Isn't that correct? That's what we want.
Chair Payne, that's correct. So with the districts that we have about 150 different districts throughout the county. Each of those districts are levied and assessed. That assessment's added to the tax bill. And when it's paid, it goes into a specific fund just for that specific rural improvement district. And again, to be used on those items that were set forth in the resolution that created the district. Again, these districts, those funds roll over year to year. They gain interest. The interest gained is kept in that fund as well. And those cash flow statements that we keep are also available to the public at any time so that they can see, since the district was created, the expenditures, the revenue over time, and how that's been managed.
So if this citizen wanted to get the road paved, and I don't know that people understand how much personal power they have. It's not up to the government to talk people into this is the right thing to do. It's up to the people who live out there and pay these taxes. It's their money. So what would these folks have to do to get their road paved?
Sure, thank you, Chair Payne. So if a paved road was desired, the county would assist with estimates on what that would cost. So the way a rural improvement district works is there's an initial improvement, and then there's maintenance on that improvement for the life of that improvement. For asphalt roads, that's about 25 to 30 years with good maintenance, for example. So we would put together those cost estimates, one for the initial improvement that it would cost to initially take a loan and finance the paving of that road, and then also what it would cost to maintain that pavement over the life of that pavement. So there'd be two components to it. We put that together in a petition document, and then from there, it is up to citizens to circulate that petition amongst their neighbors and gain support. Lewis and Clark County requires that petition to gain at least 20% before it comes back. Paving a road or something like that with the cost that it would be to pave a road, I would highly recommend, and I would say this to those folks, getting as close to 50% as possible. Because we take that petition, we bring it to public hearing, where we consider a resolution of intention to create that district. Provided we've satisfied our petition requirement, often the commission will consider that first resolution and approve it. That, though, opens a 30-day comment and protest period. Every benefiting property that would potentially be assessed for that improvement and maintenance would be sent legal notice of what they would pay. And they would also get the next public hearing date, which is where the commission would hear, comment, protest, and consider the actual creation of that district. If greater than 50% of those benefiting properties protest the district, the progress stops by law. We cannot move forward for a period of at least 6 months, and the process stops. If less than 50% protest, it's up to the commission to consider that creation. If approved, another round of legal notice goes out, another public hearing is scheduled, and that's where we would have the third and final public hearing to pass a resolution to levy and assess the district, which is what would add that payment to the tax bill. At that point, once we have that payment secured, that assessment secured, we can apply for financing to do the actual construction and move forward with the district.
Thank you, Jessica. So there's a way to do it, but you've got to jump through the right hoops. It has to do with us protecting the best interests of our taxpayers. There are a lot of people out there who are cranky about the increase in their property taxes, but they still want their roads fixed, their protection from law enforcement. They want all this stuff done, but they think they shouldn't have to pay for it if there is an increase. And the reality is, and I'm pretty sure most everybody knows, that's why we've only got, 2% objecting. That's the way it has to be. Okay. Sorry, gentlemen. Tom, got a comment?
Yes, I'd just like to kind of review what we're dealing with here today. There's 112 special districts that are listed in this resolution we're considering right now. And of those 112, none of those are going to be changed in the proposal. Is that correct?
Chair Payne, Commissioner Rolfe, that's correct.
So it's just continuing what they've got right now. No changes in all of these that are listed to be considered right now.
Chair Payne, Commissioner Rolfe, you're absolutely right. Yes. By statute, we still have to hold public hearing and send legal notice and give everybody an opportunity to be represented today and before you. So that's the process today, but there is no change, as you said.
Okay. And you've talked about the way of changing the district, the process there. If they would like to meet with the people within their district, where would they get a copy of all of the names of the people that they need to contact?
Chair Payne, Commissioner Rolfe, so we can provide a boundary. We can provide a link to the cadastral. However, by statute, we are not allowed by law to give a list of property owners to anyone with the intent of soliciting those property owners. I think that the intent of the law was likely to prevent distribution lists for solicitation by by private companies or something to that effect. However, one of the consequences of that statute is that we are also not allowed to give that list to anyone. However, we can provide a map. We can provide the number of benefiting properties, but they would have to use that map to go door to door within their district.
Okay. And if, once again, you stated that the commission does require at least 20% of the people within the district to request any changes to their district, but we do recommend that they get close to 50. I know that you brought in several that were at 53, 55%, indicating that more than half of the people wanted it. Then there's another process of a couple meetings, and if 50% or more object to the change, then that stops the process going forward. Am I correct?
Chair Payne, Commissioner Ralph, yes. When you're considering a new district or a change to a district, it has to go through that same process as creating a district from the start. So it is a robust process with a lot of legal notice, a lot of public hearing. Yes.
Okay. And again, of these these that we're considering right now in this resolution 2025-71, none of them are going to be changed.
Chair Payne, Commissioner Ralph, correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Andy, do you have anything? Okay, then. Is there any public comment on this matter? Come forward, state your name.
I just got copies.
Sure.
Yeah, give it to Brandi. That'd be just fine. Thank you.
Chairman Payne, Commissioners Rolfe, Commissioner Hunthausen, my name is Larry Sickerson. I live at 1000 Wild Wind Road in the Wild Wind Road and Half Fast Drive Rural Improvement District, number 2021-1. I'm here today in support of the creation of rural improvement districts and of Jessica Makus and her staff. I would like to give a shout out to Caleb Marcus when he was here as well, but since he's gone, he was a good hand and I hated to see him go. But Jessica and her staff are doing a very good job. In 2021, we, the property owners of the Wild Wind Road and Half Fast Drive community, petitioned this board for the creation of a rural improvement district. Thankfully, the Board of County Commissioners at that time approved our request. Now everyone within our community has an equal share and stake in the maintenance and operation of our roads. In 2021, Jessica's staff and the county road maintenance personnel hit a home run when they came in with their PTH machine, blade, and compactor and reconstructed our roads to an absolutely wonderful condition. This work was paid for by the taxes that we, the property owners, agreed to impose upon ourselves for the sole purpose of keeping our roads in good working order. The Lewis and Clark County Special District Program and Jessica Makus are the stewards of the taxes we pay for our rural improvement district. So I am also here today to ask you to help us make the Rural Improvement District program even better than it already is. Make no mistake, we, the residents of the Wild Wind Road and Half Fast Drive Rural Improvement District, are the people that all future contractors are working for. If we are not satisfied with the work performed, the money that we are asked to pay out, then no payment should be made by the special district program to a contractor until we believe that we have received a satisfactory product or service. Therefore, we need your help strengthening this program by giving Jessica and the special district program the authority to hold contractors accountable. The possibility of financial penalties and financial reductions for substandard work can be used to effectively communicate to contractors the importance of completing a quality product. I believe that the Montana Department of Transportation has language in their contracts to protect against similar occurrences for poor or substandard work that can be used as a guide here. In the past, We have paid for substandard road mix material that was high in fines and that created a slick, muddy road once it was applied on our subdivision. And the blade work that we feel wasn't done properly or in a professional manner. Material and work such as this shouldn't be rewarded with our hard-earned money. We want to see a solid return on our investment before any money is released or paid out. As further evidence of the need for these changes, I see that you have before you today a letter from an RID of 35 years, the Pine Hills Rural Improvement District, that clearly articulates what shoddy substandard work they have received over the 35-year period that's led to the difficulties they have today. Inferior, unchecked work for years causes increases in rural improvement district fees, i.e. taxes on residents, to correct deficiencies created by poor contractors. Whereas correct and quality preventative maintenance can keep costs down and roads in good working order. We, the residents of the Wild Wind Road and Half-Fast Drive, do not want this to happen to us in 30 years. We need you to help us put safeguards in future contracts that will ensure that we and others receive a satisfactory product or service in the future. These safeguards will demonstrate that you understand who these contractors are working for and that you take seriously the need to protect our hard-earned money. Now, if some would argue otherwise, that there's already sufficient safeguards, then we need to have a separate conversation about enforcement of those safeguards. The county cannot be the final decision maker and just disagree with us residents when it's her hard-earned money paying the bills. So to that end, I believe that members of future rural improvement districts will thank you for your efforts today.
Thank you for your comments. Is there any further public comment? Come forward.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Kathy Aiken, and I'm a landowner in the Rimini Rid.
Would you spell your name, please, Kathy?
Sure. CATHYEAKIN. I would like to propose that the district boundary be amended and amend the annual cost distribution. The RID provides a legal framework for funding for residents in rural Montana. That's the definition for RIDs. In Rimini, the RID splits the cost among landowner and residents equally. Out of the 58 parcels of land identified in the current district, 22 parcels, which is 38%, are vacant land. These landowners are paying for something they don't need or want. The tracts of lands with living units should pay for the RID since they are receiving the benefit. Also, I propose that the boundary be modified to include one resident on the other side of 10 Mile Creek with 3 parcels, as well as to include the residents south of Rimini with a Rimini address. That's over 10 residents. These residents benefit from the RID. Magnesium chloride is not just for dust control. It also keeps the road together. So it keeps it from breaking down, washboardy, potholes, etc. I propose if vacant landowners cannot be removed from the RID, that the annual cost be amended to be based on the assessed value, which when I looked up how they can be assessed, when you're 5 miles from an incorporated town, that's usually what they do. So thank you, and I appreciate it.
Thank you for your comments. Are there any further public comments on this matter?
Hi, I'm Jerry Froreich, Commissioner, Chairman Payne, and Commissioners.
Would you spell your last name, please?
Since I was in first grade, Frohreich.
Thank you.
And it's more, live in Vandenberg Village there. Does everyone that benefits from those roads, from Shirley, Hillman, Sorensen, and Anderson, pay this assessment?
You know, this is the opportunity for you folks to tell us, and I don't usually answer requests for information. So tell us what you want.
I would like to know, originally there were probably 4 or 5, 6 properties that weren't in our covenants, but do all properties now pay this $300 assessment that benefit from those roads? Because it's, you know, you've got it here that it's for benefited properties. So do the ones that were out of the original covenants, are they in this, or are they benefiting from me just paying?
Chair Payne,
Andy, would you?
I'm sure that Jessica is jotting down all of these questions, and typically what we do is after all public comment is done, then we will try and answer as many of the questions as we can. I
Okay.
think that's the way we've done it in the past, so.
Andy's been here for 18 years. He knows all this stuff. Thank you, Andy.
Okay,
Okay,
thanks.
anything else?
No, you know.
Okay, we'll let
it's just the
Jessica.
way It is.
Is there any further public comment? You got to come up and face the music. You can't sit in the back and whisper.
Hi,
Hello.
my name is Jennifer Fry, Frey. I'm not a longtime resident out here. I've been out here approximately 5 years on a property on Rimini Road. It has, when I first came out, the dust situation was terrible. It has been, you know, a lot better since they've put whatever they did onto the road. But this year especially, since the dam has been being rebuilt on, which way, the south end of Rimini Road for 10 Mile Creek, we have had an excessive number of large, huge, you know, dump trucks, excavating machines, stuff zipping up and down Rimini Road. The speed limit is only supposed to be 25. And if they're going 25, I'm only 26 years old. You know, it's like, there's no way. There is, the property across from me has an easement for something with a septic that they pump the, that, you know, where the pipe goes underneath the road, that's starting to cave in a little. Not a lot, but you can see cracks in it. What is the weight limit on these roads? I mean, there are huge, I mean, enormous. I used to work building mining equipment. And some of the stuff that they're using is that size. I mean, like a, you know, 20-ton gear operating that machinery and stuff like that. It's been just ruining the road. And every time they put the treatment on the road is getting narrower. I mean, the road comes, I don't know how to explain it. I'm not a construction person. But ever since I've been there, I've had harder and harder times getting my vehicles in my driveway after it's paved. The pavement is, yeah, it's humped in the center.
Excuse me, your driveway is paved?
My driveway is gravel.
Okay.
And there's about this much of after the road, it dips down. So I am, you know,
Okay.
moving stuff there. But, you know, it's like every time they put that stuff on there, it gets narrower. You can get two vehicles past each other, but hopefully there's no snow or anything. Otherwise, you're gonna drop down, you know, a significant amount. So, you know, and this year the dust is bad. They did something to the road and it was good for probably a week or two until all these trucks were coming up and down. So, you know, it's like, I don't know what to say. I'm not, you know, technically I can't say exactly what's wrong, but something is. But it's like, and what's, oh, and for people who don't know what all the CIP program is and the RID program is, it would be nice if you'd explain it, or at least say it once or twice at what it is instead of just initials. Because I know there's a lot of people that aren't.
You're singing my song, lady.
Okay, that's basically it. I love it out here. I came from Wisconsin, and I haven't seen somebody holding a gun to a person for a long time. So
You haven't been to Anaconda. Oh, I'm sorry.
I
We
had
need to focus
no,
here.
I had been a Milwaukee County bus driver,
Okay.
and it's like it's very peaceful out here, and the sheriffs and everything else, they do a fantastic job. So, but
Thank you.
but with the road, it's just, I have my storm windows on yet because the dust comes in the house.
Oh.
So that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments on this matter?
Thank you, Chairman Payne. Appreciate it. My name is Glenn Arland. I live in the Prickly Pear Creek Estate, RID, Prickly Pear RD area.
Would you spell your last name, please?
It's ARLINT.
Thank you.
Okay, first off, I'd like to thank Jessica for sticking it out after everybody else has kind of left you hanging there, and we appreciate everything you're doing. But our road, they plowed it this year, and it was a big improvement. We had one of my neighbors actually brings in his own road mix and fills potholes in front of my house and his house because it takes so long before we get somebody in there to plow it. When they do, or grade it, grade the road. And when they do grade it, it's still flat. The road's flat. It's got a berm all the way around the outside edges of it. The borrow pits, they have never pulled anything from the borrow pits on it. I've been there for over 15 years and I've never pulled anything up to try to crown the road. The person that came in this last year, he knocked it down, wetted it down and then packed it. And we've already started getting potholes back and washboards. And I believe he did that in June. I don't know if you have record of that or not, but we're already, midway through August and we're already getting our potholes back and our washboards back. Coming off of Imscotti onto Howard Road is horrendous. It was really bad before. He improved it a little bit, but it's still really, really bad to try to get on there. The Rocky Road is a paved road on there, and Dusty Maiden is paved all the way up to Rocky Road. And there's a big, huge pothole right there by coming off of Rocky Road onto Dusty Maiden. The subdivision that was built south of Rocky Road is not included in our IDs. And then the other road that we have out there is the Horseshoe Bend or Horse Creek Bend. And it's only plowed 3/4 or graded 3/4 of it. And the last quarter of the section of the road is, I've driven on field roads a lot smoother than this one. It's probably about 3 times as wide as it would normally be because people are trying to miss the big holes and potholes in there. Now I understand that section of the road is not part of the Prickly Pear RID, and neither is the houses south of Rocky Road. And I just wondered how we could include all that in, rewrite it or do whatever they have to do. Also, the charges for the RIDs that comes into each homeowner is different from one person to the other. I guess it's gauged on how much of the road you use or where you're located in that RID. That I'm not truly understanding that. And then there's also a trailer court that's in the middle of all that off of Rochelle Road and in that area. And I understand that they only pay a small portion of it, but yet you have all these houses and all these people still driving on Dusty Maiden. on there. So just hoping maybe there's some way we could get that ratified and maybe taken care of in there.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Anybody else have public comment on this issue?
My name is Judith Johnston, Johnston. And I live in the Han Road, RID 2023-1. Han Road has been problematic from the moment it was created. And I know that in part because my husband and I did a subdivision and had to put the road in. The county made us put it in. Even though all but one resident there objected to it, wanted the road abandoned. Okay, the county made us put it in because the county wanted, a crossroad between McHugh and North Montana to help funnel traffic for going to work, people going to work and so on and so forth, which is understandable, I think. Okay, after the road was put in, and the RID was created, we've had problems with the road not being graded well. And currently right now, we have a problem with the road having been graded, but not rolled. The potholes are beginning to show up again. The ditches were not dug out, they were filled in more, and we flood. We're in a big flood area. Having those ditches filled in is very problematic for the people that live there. That's number one. Number two, we have two commercial entities at the end of Han Road on North Montana. One of them is called Matrix, and they use large equipment, and they use the road constantly. They're good people. I've talked to them. They're willing to do what they can, but they do use the road constantly with large equipment, big cranes, big trucks, all kinds of stuff. The other commercial entity is Performance Authority, and they do diesel repair. There's a lot of trucks and diesel people that drive Han Road to get to Performance Authority for repair of their vehicles. Okay. None of those people that I know of live there. Okay. The people living there, myself included, pay the RID for the benefit of the people that live there. I'm under that impression, number one. Why are we having to pay for all of this public traffic being used as a crossroad? And there's a lot of it. And number two, for the commercial traffic using that road. It's a big deal for us. Dust is a big deal for us also, and there are people there that have health problems, and the dust is aggravating their health problems. We've had no dust control this year. The road was graded, as I say, this year. We would like to have some dust control on there. I understand that maybe there's a cycle or a time period when it's done in the fall or something, but the fall we have snow and rain. What we need dust control is in the spring and early summer with all of these people using this road. Okay, so that's a comment. The next comment I have is my concern about those lots that are there but cannot utilize the benefits of the road. What I'm referring to is the fact my husband and I own 11 lots. 3 of those have residences on them. The others do not. They're empty lots. There's no way for those empty lots to reap any benefits from the road. There's nobody there that uses those roads. So why are my empty lots having to pay the RID for something they don't get? There's no way to utilize that. Those are my comments.
Okay, thank you. Are there any further public comment?
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Bill Rich. I live up on Jaybird Road. And we have Lone Pine and Mount Vista, all part of our road association. I would like to, you need this? I'd like to say thank you. All summer long, we've seen a lot of traffic up in, particularly on Jaybird. The pipeline, they use that road, plus going through a personal property to get to the pipeline area where they were building the new gas line up through the valley there and up across BLM land, which is only two properties away, or one property away from where I live. And we saw a lot of traffic on that road. Heavy trucks going in and out, hauling materials, pipeline, pipes, and so forth. I want to say thank you. Also, we had the contractor up there putting in along the edge of the road the new internet access. And they were digging up roads. And then the power company was up there putting in new poles in places, replacing some of the old poles. So we had a lot of traffic up in that road, and that road got very bad, and it was bad to start with. So it got worse. But I want to say thank you. You and your department for the work that they came in when the work was done and fixed the roads, and they are excellent shape right now, and I hope that they stay that way. Thank you very much to everyone involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Are there other comments, public comments?
Chair Payne and commissioners, my name is Stephen Rude, R-U-H-D. I live on Genie Road. I have traveled, or I live just off Genie Road, but I have traveled Genie Road for 19 years. And the first 17 years, we had it graded twice, and it worked pretty good. I should say the last, 5, 6 years before we had RID, we let it go. I will admit, we let it go as landowners in the area. But we had it redone last year, 1 year ago this month, I believe. And 22 months later, it was in very little better condition than it was when it was redone 2 years ago. Just kind of makes me wonder if the county standards need to go back 20 years or something like that when Genie Road was originally built. But anyway, my wife's not happy. She wants a new car and she won't buy one until that road is going to be in good shape. So, yeah, I thank you for your time. I thank Jessica for her time and energy. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your comment. Is there any other public comment? Okay, then. Okay, Mr. 18-year veteran, now can I ask Jessica to come up and address those public comments? It's not on my list of things to do. Okay, Jessica, would you come up here and help us understand the situation all these folks are concerned about?
Thank you, Chair Payne. Sure, I can go through these one by one, and we can address those as best I can today. Some may require some additional follow-up, though, so we'll take care of that as well. To Mr. Sickerson on Wildwind Half-Fast, I appreciate the words of support. I appreciate the kind words. Regarding the contractor work, I know this has been an issue over the last couple of instances. I do want to say, when this district was created, we did not import new material. What we did was work with the road department to use the PTH crushing machine to crush the rock.
PTH.
I have no idea. I'm sorry. I really
Okay.
don't know what that means. I think it's just a PTH. I just think it is the name of it.
All right. Oh, it's like a brand name, like
Yeah.
Kellogg's.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry. But anyway, it's a mobile crushing machine that gets hooked up to a tractor, and you use it in place on the road to crush the native material and to create your own gravel, so to speak. So this is what was done on Wild Wind and Half Fast when we created that district. It saved a substantial amount of money to use that machine. It's something that we almost never have access to because the road department is generally using it on their own projects on our county roads. But we were able to get it in a tight window. The district isn't very far away and it's not very large. As a result, we were able to substantially lower the initial improvement assessment from what was estimated in construction. That being said, this is not imported material. This is not 6 inches of county spec material. This is native material that's been crushed to a good standard and spread over the road. This is good. It's workable. It's decent material. However, it is never going to perform like 6 inches of imported material. This was communicated at the time that we did the work. This was communicated with the property owners as we created this district and put this improvement in. I want to be clear that sometimes when we have a middle grade material, it is not going to grade the same as several inches of county spec material. And I think that we have an expectation issue to discuss further, I think, with property owners. And in my last correspondence, that's what I recommended to Mr. Stickerson, that maybe we sit down and consider what this material is and what it isn't, and what our options are from here moving forward. However, I did look at the work done the Monday after it was completed. This work was completed, it was graded, it was magged, and then a massive rainstorm hit right afterwards. And based on what I saw out there, I think it held up pretty well. We do have an issue of a puddle that's primarily on a driveway, and it's the result of not having an approach culvert underneath that driveway. It's a stopping point for water, and no grading job or amount of crown is going to prevent that from happening without getting that culvert under that driveway, which is what I would highly recommend. This subdivision was put in before that was a requirement. These properties are kind of grandfathered in before that approach permit requirement. So we don't require private property to do that at this time. However, it would certainly help with the drainage, specifically, I think, on the corner where that tends to be an issue. Again, I'd be happy to follow up with this, but I did inspect this work along with our construction coordinator working for us right now. And I think it was, to me, it met expectations, to be clear.
Chair Payne.
Yeah, Andy.
Just a more general question I think that Mr. Sickerson brought up, not necessarily related to this RID, but all of them. I think the question was related to our contracts and what can and can't be in our contracts. It's maybe not something we can answer today, but it sparked my curiosity. Is there do we do inspections prior to payment, those kinds of things, or is that even possible? I mean, you talked about the lack of staffing at this time and being behind, but I just wanted us to make sure we address that question at some point, because it is an interesting one that maybe we can follow up on.
Chair Payne, Commissioner Henhausen, we do inspect our work, specifically with gravel work, with pavement work, with those larger projects. Certainly that's inspected before payment is issued. That does not always happen. It hasn't happened this winter with all of our instances of snow plowing. Usually our construction coordinator position is able to do a loop through the county to make sure our districts have been plowed appropriately. as one-man band with an administrative assistant support, though. That was a difficult thing to accomplish this winter in particular. However, this summer with our grading work, with our pavement that's happened so far, that work is inspected. The crack sealing, that work is all inspected prior to payment. And we do occasionally need additional touch-ups or, something to that effect that we communicate directly with our contractors. And they're usually really good about providing that. So there is a process there, certainly. Okay, maybe I'll move on.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Just so for everyone, we've been here since 9 a.m. It's now almost 10:30, and I know there are certain members of this panel that need to use the facilities. And at 10:30, we are going to take a break, no matter who is speaking. There.
Thank you, Chair Payne. It'll probably still be me. So yeah, we'll accommodate that certainly. I'll go on to Ms. Aiken from Room and I. As far as the boundary, I did speak to her on the phone prior to this meeting. The RID, when we have mag chloride applied, it does two things, and she mentioned this as well in her testimony. It holds the road together, and it also has a benefit of providing dust abatement. Just because there is not a dwelling on a property does not mean that that property is not visited, does not mean that that is not the road that you would use to access that property. Our statute allows us different mechanisms for assessment, but vacant and developed are not two of the mechanisms that we have for current districts, for new districts.
So the lot that is empty sitting next to my house pays the same RID fees that I pay, even though there's no house over there. But it's a tax and it's a property, and that's how we pay for things.
Chair Payne, yeah, and different from your general tax, this is a special assessment. And so it follows a separate set of statutes when we apply this type of assessment. And we have to use the statutory mechanism available to us to assess these properties. And there is, like I said, so these properties are assessed equally based on the benefit received. So whether you have a home on a property that you visit once a year, or you have a vacant space that you visit however many times, I have no way of assessing based on usage. That does not exist. If we want to look at a boundary amendment, we can certainly pursue that. If there are properties that now benefit or that there's some question of that, we can certainly work with the property owners out there to amend that boundary. And the way that would be done was by circulating a petition to amend that district. It would go through resolution of intention, legal notice, and then have that open protest period. And then we go to that creation or amendment process. So it would follow those same steps that we outlined earlier this morning about how to create a district. And I'd be happy to follow up with Ms. Aiken on that.
Jessica, if you have a road to your lot, whether you're driving on it or not, doesn't that improve the value? If you want to sell that lot, you don't have access, nobody's going to want to buy it. But if you are part of an RID, you're paying for it, you can put a driveway in. I'm amazed that people would object to paying to have a road to their property.
Okay. Go ahead. Yeah. Yes. So that is how the benefit is determined. So we look at the properties that would use that road to access their property, and that's how that benefit is determined. I'm going to skip Mr. Forick just for a moment, and because the next comment was also about Rim and I from Ms. Fry. And so I will just speak to that, and we can maybe take that break. So as far as the additional traffic with the water treatment plant that's happening up there and the heavy equipment using the road, this section of road is maintained by the county. So the county does provide the grading for that road. The county also does apply the mag chloride, even though that is paid for through this Rimonite district. The county had to go through a process to replace our magnesium chloride tanks, as I'm sure you're all very aware. With failing pumps, we were able to secure ARPA dollars through your support to have those magnesium chloride tanks replaced. That has been completed very recently, and those tanks are going to be filled, I believe, this week. And so at that point, the road department will be able to catch up with their grading and their mag application. The way that works is, because you have to apply water when you're grading to water, grade, compact those roads. When that road is wet still, that's the best time to put that magnesium chloride on as well. So that happens in conjunction so that we're not duplicating efforts by grading and then coming back in to grade and apply mag. So that work is coming. I recognize the delay this season, and I know that's been challenging, but I appreciate the patience as we've had to replace those tanks as a county project. We do maintain a 24-foot width on our county roads. That is our standard width. I know that can seem narrow. It is enough for 2 cars to pass, but not a lot when there's vehicles parked on the sides or anything like that. So we can certainly take a look at that section through Rimini, but I imagine that is still probably 24 feet, but we can certainly look at that. Rimini is a little bit interesting there because a lot of those buildings were put there before width requirements. So it could be that there are more narrow patches there. So we can certainly look at that though. And if it does seem to be narrowing over time, that's something that we can certainly address. As far as a weight limit on that road, there are no weight limits on gravel roads. If there is infrastructure under a gravel road, that's a risk that would be taken by putting infrastructure under a road like that. We do not maintain weight limits on gravel roads because you do not have the same type of deterioration you would have on a gravel road like you would have on a hard surface road, where those heavy trucks would impact the integrity of that asphalt. When heavy traffic uses a gravel road, you can simply regrade it, smooth it out, and it will be back to good condition. So as far as speed was mentioned as well. Speed comes up a lot for us. And unfortunately, that's one thing that we can't do much about. We can post speed limit signs, but it is up to the sheriff's department to enforce those and to respond to those complaints, unfortunately. So again, I'm happy to have further follow-up conversations with anybody, with Ms. Aiken or Ms. Fry from Rimini, and talk about future maintenance and work on that road.
So let's take a break. We'll be back in 7 minutes. Oh, the pause that refreshes, and Jessica, continue with your explanation.
Thank you, Chair Payne. We'll move on to Mr. Forake in Vandenberg Village with the question, does everybody pay? These rural improvement districts usually aren't lined up with what's outlined in covenants. Those are generally separate. So covenants, HOAs, things like that are independent, 100% independent of the rural improvement district administered by the county. We do not have jurisdiction over HOAs or anything to that effect. I will say that there are 81 properties in Vandenberg Village. So all the benefiting properties that use Sorensen, Hillman, Shirley, and Anderson, it's my understanding that they all pay into that district accordingly. So I hope that helps.
Chair Payne?
Andy?
Maybe just a quick description of what generally determines a benefiting property.
Sure. Thank you, Chair Payne, Commissioner Hunthausen. So benefiting properties are properties that are using that improvement and benefiting from that improvement and maintenance. So generally when these districts are created, this district was created, I think in the early 2000s. So before my time here, but generally when these districts are created, that is how benefit is determined. Who is using those roads, who's traveling on those roads to get to their property.
So to follow up on Andy's question, so we've got a trailer park and there's 40 housing units there. The landowner pays the same amount for the RID as the farmer that's got, 40 acres of wheat over here. Is that correct?
Chair Payne, Usually it is. So,
Okay.
yeah, and I think that's our next comment with Prickly Pear about the trailer park in there. So, when there's a trailer park, it's usually one property.
Mhm.
So one thing that could be done if a district were to be recreated, we could not do that with an existing framework. We'd have to recreate a district. But you could assess by statute, you could assess by taxable value. And so that would be one way you could get that proportional share for a trailer park or something to that effect. As far as though, your single family residential, properties, your commercial properties, I believe Vandenberg or one of those areas has maybe it might be the one just further to the east, has a church, when there's a church included, that church pays just like any other single property, even though a couple days a week they usually have more traffic. But those are statutory mechanisms available to us to administer this program.
Chair Payne, just
Andy?
to follow up. So if I were in an RID and I was like, gosh, I wonder if that lot or that house is paying or not, I could get a map from the county and it would describe the boundaries of that RID. And I could generally, again, most of the time, assume that every property within that boundary is a benefiting property. I mean, it's a good indicator of who's paying and who's not.
Chair Payne, Commissioner Hunthausen, yes, that map helps. Also, I will point out, again, with our awesome GIS and IT department, our GIS folks have created a really excellent interactive map that can be found on our website, and I can help anybody access that. But you can turn on the layer that shows all of the rural improvement district boundaries. You can also search by rural improvement district and go right to your specific one. That boundary will light up with that same map that we could provide in print copy or that's also available on our website. And you can click on those individual properties and look at the tax bills. So you can see on there if that RID maintenance assessment or improvement assessment is listed on that tax bill. So that is also available on there on our website. And I can help folks access that as needed.
And this is public information, right?
Chair Payne, yes.
Thank you. You got anything for Jessica? All right.
Okay. Chair Payne, Commissioners, we'll move on to Mr. Arlen and Prickly Pear. I think actually this was graded in July and not even as far back as June. The challenge we have in Prickly Pear is this district was created in 1985. This district has very poor material. I think it's probably a district that needs a new improvement throughout. The challenge that we have there is that we have almost no material to work with. And when that happens, you can grade it, you can cut the top of it and smooth it out, but it's just not going to last because you don't have material to really compact back down. He mentioned Horse Creek Road. Only half of that is included in the RID. There's also another subdivision to the southwest corner that's paid in, but those roads are not maintained. Again, because this district was created in 1985, this is how it was created. Again, we have to look at those resolutions and administer these districts based on those resolutions that we have. I will say that pothole patching is underway so that the potholes mentioned on Rocky Road and Dusty Maiden will get addressed. However, the material in that road network is poor. And until we can get better material on that road, we are not going to have a lot of success with the annual grading. When this district was also created, it set up different assessment rates based on the roads within the district. So, roads using the hard surface roads like Dusty Maiden, Rocky Road, and part of M. Scotty, those main thoroughfares, those properties are assessed a specific amount. The properties using all of the gravel roads off of those main corridor roads within the district are assessed a different amount. And then you have the Meadow Valley trailer court internal roads. So there are 3 different assessment groups. Some pay a all of them, some pay 2 of them, some pay 1 of them, just depending on where they are throughout the district. It's one of the only districts set up like this. Again, this was created before my time, and I'm not sure how that worked at that time, but this is what I have today to work with. And I would be happy to work with folks on a new district or to get some of those other roads picked up, but we would have to go through that process of a new district. And that would include a new improvement and then setting up maintenance on that new improvement. But that would be the easiest way to get new material in there, and also reestablish some drainage, which is pretty poor as well. Moving on to Ms. Johnston on Han. I'm not going to speak to the past subdivision process that's outside of the rural improvement district that was created recently. I will say that when these roads are graded, they are watered, graded, and compacted, and that compaction looks a little bit different based on what mechanism is being used. But those are compacted. So it was rolled or compacted, as we call it, when the work got done. I will take a look at the ditches. That comment is concerning to me, so we will follow up on that and make sure that those ditches are not being filled in, because that is a concern. When we had this done, I actually heard good feedback about the work done. So I'm a little bit surprised to hear that, but that's okay, and it deserves a follow-up look. So we'll put that on our list. As far as the commercial properties at the ends, those commercial properties are paying in. Again, like we've talked about, they're paying the same as any other lot within that district, but they are at least paying in to that district as benefiting properties as they're situated on that road. Dust control is done every other year on that road. We can increase the frequency of that. It comes with more cost. So generally your dust application per foot is about the same as your grading per foot. So if we increase that frequency, generally we have to assess more money. And that's a conversation we can have with property owners out there if dust is becoming an issue. As far as empty lots paying in, I think we've gone over this in other comments, but if the way to access that lot is on the road that is being improved or maintained through a district, that lot is counted as a benefiting property. One option folks have, if they have lots that you can consolidate with our planning department and get that down to one assessment instead of 3 separate ones or something like that. But certainly people have different visions for how they want to use their property, but that is one option available to folks if they want. And then we would redistribute that cost over the new number of benefiting properties. I appreciate Mr. Rich on Jaybird, Mount Vista. Those are kind comments, and a lot of credit goes to the people that live out there, because they have a really great road committee that work really hard on kind of they give us a lot of good feedback, and they are excellent to work with. So I appreciate their effort as well. Moving on to Mr. Rood, Jeannie Road. I did look at the work after it was done. I know it was rough in the spring. I did think the work that was done was a little bit cobbly, but a lot of times when you have a road graded and we've pulled that material, it ends up a little bit cobbly as that material kind of works into the road over the course of the summer. I'll look again though. Like I said, I'll make a point to get out there and have another look at that one. And if we need to kind of change some of the frequency of our maintenance there to make sure that that's holding up a little bit better in the winter season, we can make that adjustment. Okay. Anything I've missed, Chair, Commissioners?
Chair Payne, if I just reiterate again, there is a timing issue on any roads that receive stabilization, dust control this year because of the construction. So we didn't have any material this year or product this year until that's coming up here this next week because of the reconstruction of our mag chloride tanks and that whole process. So I think normally that work would have been done in May, June, whatever, as it is in most years. for those roads that received that. I just wanted to reiterate that that's the case, correct? So some people didn't see any mag chloride this year, which may have been a little bit of a dustier July and August thus far than usual. Is that correct?
Chair Payne, Commissioner Hunhausen, yes, for the roads maintained through the road department, for that magnesium chloride application and grading effort, absolutely, it's very behind. Just and again, because of that tank replacement project, we had to wait for. So it was pretty critical to undergo, but the project is complete, which is exciting. And as I said, the plan is to have those filled this week and get back on track.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
That being said, I think we've closed on public comment. I think we need a motion, gentlemen.
Chair Payne, I would move that we approve resolution 2025-71 levying assessments upon benefiting property within road improvement districts and rural improvement districts in Lewis and Clark County as presented by Jessica Makus.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve resolution 2025-71 as we have just been discussing. Is there any further comment from the commission? Andy?
Chair Payne, as a couple of folks did in their comments, I'd like to thank Jessica and the team. A lot of hard work and a lot of RIDs. I mean, talked about over 150 RIDs in our county, which have to be tracked and have to be done on an annual basis about how they're doing and what's happening in those RIDs. And what I heard today from public comment and a generalization of what I heard is not the assessment shouldn't happen or that people don't want to be part of an RID necessarily, but there were some comments and suggestions about how we might be able to improve service or the particulars of some of the older RIDs that maybe don't have materials and those kinds of things that may have some opportunity to change, but there is a process to do that. So I appreciate the explanation from Jessica as well. And we always want to improve service, but I'll support this motion and glad that we're not in this case of these 112 or so that we're not raising any of the rates this year. So thank you, Chair Payne.
Thank you, Andy. Ron or Tom, do you have anything?
Yeah, yes, I too am going to support this motion, and I think there was some good comments here. We've kind of had a perfect storm of retirement and loss of a couple of key people who all of a sudden the 3-person department is a 1-person department, and we really need to redouble our efforts to make sure that Jessica gets the staff support she needs. And I'm sure that there are ongoing efforts to try and get that taken care of. The other thing is that the lack of availability of the magnesium chloride that's used to quell the dust, and that should be back up and running. And hopefully that will help some of these problems that people have spoken of. If people want to make a change in their RID, they should stop by and get a map, either get it off the internet and off our county website, a map of the district, or get a hold of Jessica and she'll get you a map of the boundaries. And if you would like to make some changes, then talk with her about how to make those changes once you've seen what the boundaries are in your district. I really believe you've been doing an amazing job, Jessica, considering the fact that you've had the whole load on your shoulders, and I know that HR is working diligently to try to get you some extra support there, and I know that the rest of Public Works has been helping out, but you need the support. So that I'm sure will come. Thank you for the detail that you approach this whole area. with the concern you have for each individual RID that we have. I think you do an exceptional job, and I appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Tom and Andy. Okay. We have a motion on the table. It's been moved, seconded, that we approve Resolution 2025-71. It's explained by Jessica Makus. All in favor of this motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Next up is the abandonment of the rights-of-way in blocks 3, 5, 6, 7, and 8 of the Rumping addition to the Townsite of Marysville. And Christal, Ness will be presenting this to us.
Good morning, Chair Payne, Commissioners. Christal Ness, Development Services Supervisor. This morning, we have a decision on the abandonment of the roads in the Rumping addition to the Townsite of Marysville. We did an investigation on March 12th. On April 7th, as part of the other site considerations, there was a quiet title action that was decided by the local district court relative to the waterway. And we'll kind of get into that a little bit. So we are in Marysville. We're going to go up Grand Street and then to Highland up to the Rumping addition. So this is the plat of the Rumping addition. So these are the streets platted as right-of-ways within the Rumping addition, of which only Tennis Place was the only one that was ever constructed. We've had some previous actions on this Rumping addition. Here we have a little bit more detailed map of the rights-of-way, the waterway, and all of these streets that come through the Rumping addition. You can see by the map, we have Trinity Road that comes through here. The 23 years that I've been here, Trinity Road was never in an easement. It just simply crossed that property and came up from Highland Street and then connected to Long Gulch Road to the north. Relative to previous actions that we've taken in the Rumping addition, we've had these previous resolutions that abandoned these streets, part of Park Street, part of Grand Avenue, and part of Grand Street. Relative to the roads that we're looking at today, in comparison with the previous actions, we are looking at completely closing the rest of Grand Avenue, this extension of Park Street, and this portion of Highland Street. The applicant's consultant has provided us with a map on an aerial that shows these portions of the streets that are to be abandoned. We have one little anomaly, and that's this tract right here. I could find no action, no historical action that may have closed a portion of Grand Avenue here, but this is a cadastral parcel that they're paying taxes on a portion of Grand Avenue that historically was never abandoned. We're going to take care of that with this action as a whole. In your packet, I gave you an 11 by 17 copy of our amended plat. One of the things that was very important was as we reconfigure this conglomeration of lots, that all of these lots will now have access to Trinity Road. So we're going to aggregate this group of lots. We're going to aggregate this group of lots. We're going to aggregate these lots, and we're also aggregating and incorporating this waterway that was abandoned by the quiet title action. I can't tell you how many times I've had folks come to me from the Rumping addition wanting to know if the county could abandon that waterway. It wasn't platted as a right-of-way. It was not platted as a public access easement. So their only option was to do a quiet title action. The applicant, very motivated to get all of this cleaned up, did that, got the quiet title action, and we will be aggregating that waterway land, which was 20 feet in width, into these abutting lots. Also, as part of this action, we are now going to dedicate a 40-foot public access and utility easement for Trinity Road as it comes through here and connects to Long Gulch. So today before you, we have an action item to abandon these roads as I've described to you, the history of the plats. We had our previous resolutions of the originally platted streets. Only a portion of Tennis was ever constructed. The petition portions of Grand Avenue rights-of-way were declared county roads pursuant to Resolution 2025-58, which was recorded on July 1st. In reviewing the abandonment, the commissions is charged with making the determination set forth in Title VII, Chapter 14, Part 26, whether or not the abandonment would affect or impair the access of private landowners, whether the abandonment would affect the public's access to public lands or waters, and whether or not the abandonment would affect the right of public utilities to continue and maintain their equipment, and whether or not it can be done without detriment to the public interest. My staff report discusses some of those comments that we received. I did receive comment from the Bureau of Land Management, who owns all of this property to the north of the Rumping addition. Lindsay was very happy to find out that we're going to dedicate this easement for Trinity Road, which up until now had not been in an actual easement, and did not have any comments relative to the abandonment of the other roads. The other comment that I received was from Northwestern Energy, and they have indicated that they have overhead power lines and some underground power lines in this area. And we will be working with them before this amended plat comes back to you for signatures to make sure that all of those utilities are indeed captured in an easement. The other site considerations was that proposed waterway, which we now have a quiet title order from the court quieting title to that proposed waterway. We're going to aggregate this myriad of lots so that everyone will have access to that new public access easement. I have recommended conditions of approval based on the previous actions that we had taken relative to the previous resolutions. I have proposed that we will do a resolution for each of these roads that we're going to vacate to be consistent with the previous resolutions that we have on file. So I am proposing that we have 3 resolutions, each one to vacate and abandon those portions of the road pursuant to the petition. The new survey shall show and include all of those reconfigured lots, the right-of-way that's being aggregated into the abutting lots, the newly dedicated public access and utility easement for Trinity Road. Like I said, the boundary line relocations for the aggregation of those lots. And then we will have a book and page on that new survey for the resolutions that we will consider when we finalize this project. We're going to retain any utility easements that are going to be necessary for any existing utilities. One of my last condition of approval would be that they have 3 years within which to complete this project, bring us a finalized amended plat, and we'll have resolutions prepared and deeds prepared to finish this project for the Rumping addition to the town site of Marysville. And I'm here for any questions. The consultants for the applicants are here. Jared Lay is here if you have any questions for him, but I am certainly here for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Christal. Tom, do you have something?
Just to kind of get my head right on this, everybody knows where the Marysville house is. Where would be the Marysville house based on that amended plat?
So the
picture that you
Marysville house is going to be quite a ways to the south. All of this property is to the north of the actual Marysville proper.
have? Now, will it be on Highland or on Grand?
On Highland, or it could be on Grand.
Could be either.
Let me see. So this is our Lovely County website. I don't see that it's going to let me pull it over. And we could explore this together. Now, I think I'm going to have to minimize.
Would this include a field trip to the Marysville house?
I don't believe so. No, it doesn't appear that the computer is going to allow me to pull that website over and we could have gone there and explored it. But the Marysville house is quite a ways to the south of this.
This is
Yeah.
almost,
This is to the very top, just before you hit the BLM and go into Long Gulch,
okay.
which goes to Canyon Creek.
Yep. Been over that road.
Look at your very first map, Christal.
Yep. There we go.
Oh, here we are right here. So one of the nice things that when you pull this up on the county's website, if it's a commercial property, it's shown as a red dot. All of the green dots are residential. Thank you, Chair Payne, Commissioner Hunthausen.
Interesting project. You have any other questions from the commission? Is there any public comment on this matter? Seeing no public comment, let's have a motion.
Chair Payne, I would move that we conditionally approve the abandonment of the rights of way in blocks 3, 5, 6, 7, and 8 of the Rumping addition to the town site of Marysville, considering the conditions of approval and Ms. Ness's staff report.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve the abandonment of the rights of way in blocks 3, 5, 6, 7, and 8 of the Rumping addition in the town site of Marysville, as explained by Christal Ness. Is there any further discussion?
Chair Payne.
Andy.
Just another thank you. This is really complicated, historic, messy stuff. And so for someone to love it, I don't know what you call yourself. Are you, like a plat nerd or anything like that? I won't call you any of those things. I'm asking what you're calling yourself. Anyway, someone who's really into this, it's amazing because it's a lot of detail, a lot of work. And I know working with the contractors, the partners, the folks that bring this to us as well. But there's a significant amount of detail that has to be attended to and many steps to come, as you've described. So thank you for that. Appreciate it. This will be great.
Chair Payne, Commissioner Hunthausen, thank you very much. I consider myself a researcher at heart, and road research is fascinating.
Particularly in our mining districts. Okay.
I think you're a historical road researcher. Thank you for what you do.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded, and Okay, so I'm going to ask for a vote to approve this abandonment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Now, we have come to the part of our agenda where we ask for public comment on any public matter within the jurisdiction of the commission that is not on the agenda above. Oh, I guess he wasn't coming here. Okay. Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.